Welcome to this fifth video in the AutoCAD training series. In this video, we will cover section 1.1.5 of the written material. If you have not completed this section of the written material, please go do so now. In this section, we will be focusing on the Properties palette. Now to access the Properties palette, hold Control and then hit 1. The Properties palette will appear. You can turn the auto hide function off by clicking the arrow right there, and then the properties palette will always stay open instead of closing. But if you'd rather, you can have it closed and that leaves more space on the screen. So here's how you use the properties palette. For a circle, select the circle. It knows that it's a circle, and it says there's a line type and a whole bunch of information about it. The radius, diameter, circumference, area, etc. Has a whole bunch of information. Same thing for a line. Remember, this time it recognizes it as a line. When you select multiple objects, it just says all and gives less information because they have less in common. But if you use the pull down here, you can see that I'm selecting 2 lines and a circle. Well, I only meant to select 2 lines. So there you go. Here are the properties of those 2 lines. You'll see it says varies for starts, ends, etc. Anything that those 2 lines do not have in common, for the geometry, it'll say varies. Another way to edit objects is to use grips. So when you select an object, you'll see these 3, on a line, you'll see 3 grips. And on a circle, you'll see 1 grip in the center, and then 1 grip at each quadrant. Now to edit an object, for instance a circle, you can either select the center and move it, or you can change the radius by selecting one of the other sides and moving it around. Same thing can be done for a line. If you select the center, the move. You select one of the sides, you can change where the endpoint is, or as we learned earlier, you can lengthen or shrink. Now you may recognize the object in front of me right here. This is one of the previous exercises. For exercise 1.1.5, you need to take this previous exercise and turn it into a slightly different object. How do you do that? If you select the quadrant snap on the circle and snap it to the midpoint of one of the lines, like figure 1.1.5.3, now all you have to do, lengthen, instead of lengthen, you can also just click on the grips and snap it to the midpoint of itself. And then you have this object. Then use the trim command. Select the objects. Come on, get rid of that. Hit enter. Now you have this weird, almost teardrop shaped object. Select both of the created arcs. Then you'll see that the lines are not solid lines or continuous lines anymore. They have a pattern to them. If you use the line type scale, set it to 5, and we can see that the scale of that pattern changes. So now it looks very similar to what's in the written material. And as far as color goes, go to color, set it to whatever color the exercise says. You are now ready to go complete exercise 1.1.5 yourself. When you've completed that, go and read the next section in the written material. See you then.